Welcome back, everybody, to Seamless Africa 2021. Our next session will be a panel discussion exploring a step beyond digital transformation, modernizing core financial infrastructure for the AI Bank of the Future. This session will be moderated by Darren Franks, founder and CEO of Talent in the Cloud. Can I now invite all of our speakers to turn on their webcams and microphones? And Darren, I'll leave it to you to lead us in the discussion today and introduce us to our esteemed speakers. Over to you.
And thank you very, very much. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning from wherever you're dialing in from. It's a pleasure to be here. As Rian said, my name is Darren Franks. I'm the founder and CEO of Talent in the Cloud. We focus exclusively on providing leadership talent, specialist focus. I'm delighted to be here today. We're moving on from digital transformation. I think the pandemic has firmly put us all on the transformation journey and roadmap, and hopefully we're going to hear from the panel today about how they've accelerated their journeys. But specifically, we're going to be talking about AI. Getting into the first question, I'd like to do a quick round of introductions. So, Rachid, hi, very nice to meet you. If you'd like to just give us a quick introduction about yourself, where you're based.
Can't turn his camera on.
And yeah, talk us through your background.
Even if you did live, sure.
Thank you, Darren. Yeah, my name is Rachid Oulad, and I'm the VP Group of Wiseasy and the President of Wiseasy France, in charge of the EMEA region. Happy to be part of this panel. Thank you, guys. I used to work for the payment industry for the last 22 years. I started my career at a very nice, big group called Ingenico at the time, and jumped to another one after 18 years and spent 2 years with Pax. And I joined Wiseasy recently, beginning of this year, to handle and manage all the EMEA region for the group. So I would be happy to share with you our experience in the AI arena.
Fantastic, thank you very much. And you're based in France, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm based in France, yeah.
Correct?
Yep, exactly.
Okay. Very good. Well, welcome. Thank you very much for joining. Perhaps we can go to Sambo. Sambo, please introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. I am Sambo, CDO of Bank of Africa, Benin. I have a telecom background, IT, telecom and marketing background, and now I moved to digital transformation. I am leading the digital transformation of Bank of Africa, Benin, and also I work with other branches because we have some project, some holding projects. Thanks.
Fantastic. Sambo, it looks like you've embraced the remote working culture from your car.
Yes.
Well, listen, thank you so much for joining us today. Rohit, hi. Very nice to meet you.
Hi, thank you so much.
Please do give us
I don't know, Darren seems to be breaking up for me.
Yeah, Rohit, I think he was just going to ask you to give us some insight into your background.
Okay, lovely. So thank you so much, Darren, for allowing me to speak and inviting me to be a part of this panel. My name is Rohit Dhawan. I am the Chief Information Officer for Bank of Kigali. We're in Rwanda. So a big hello from Kigali. And my career was, my early career was a technologist, and then last stint that I had before Bank of Kigali was in Royal Bank of Scotland, and there I was a program manager working on multiple large-scale programs. Here my role is to help the bank grow and do the digital transformation. And as we speak right now, we just went live with our new core banking system, and the lights are on. So we're accelerating towards our digital transformation. And now we are looking to explore the opportunities with the data that we are generating and how we can extrapolate more information out of it. So here we are, good start to our journey as well.
Fantastic. I'd love to unpack a little bit more about the new core banking platform and the what the future holds for the Bank of Kigali. Maybe we can do that shortly. But Rohit, while you're on, and clearly you're heavily involved in this part of sort of the ecosystem, what does AI in banking mean to you?
So for me, AI means, for me, AI stands for the ability.
Intelligence.
Sorry.
How would you explain that? No, please. There's a bit of a delay on the line. Apologies.
If you don't mind, please finish your question, and then I'll respond.
Yeah, if you were going to explain to a layman what's AI in banking, or what has AI got to do in banking, how would you discuss that? How would you explain where AI and banking merge?
Thank you. So my approach to AI is always, and the perspective I'd want to draw for a layman is data. You have to understand the data that we generate for a customer, or as a bank, or as a bank, what kind of data we generate. What AI would help us do is there is only so much data that a human can possibly consume, or let's say a business person or a commercial person or somebody in treasury would be able to run only a segment of reports. What AI starts doing for you is it starts building these new models of exploring what is the relationship between one type of transaction done by a customer and what time of the day, what is the channel they've used. All of those things get interpolated together, and they're able to give you a much deeper analytics around what is happening for the customer. Now that works for us as a bank, because if you ask humans to start doing this on a standard base, they would take months or even, well, sometimes years to come back with a solution and build a new product. What AI does for us is it gives us an insight about which product needs to be worked on, where the strengths of the bank lie, and it allows us to even interact with the customer and build models which allow us to start responding to the customer demands in a much more agile fashion. What we've been doing as a traditional bank is, you analyze a particular product's cost, and then you try to test the market. And when you test the market, there is always a potential about the product to fail or succeed. Usually the banks are risk averse. We are risk institutions, so we don't like to take risks. And hence, in this scenario, with the AI, you're able to build a predictive model which gives you an idea that there is a certain percentage of success or a certain percentage of failure. And then you can play with the model saying that if I reduce the pricing or increase the pricing, what would be the impact and where would we land? So it cushions the idea about product release, building new products, new services for us. So that is the first step that the AI can help us with. The next and the last one, which I would like to mention, is interactions. Today, most of the banks suffer from, you have large amount of digital transactions, and the customer, human beings, as per their nature, still like an interaction, and that interaction as close to humanly as it is possible. It gives them the confidence. So AI helps us do that. It helps us bring in the naturalization, and it's not robotic in nature. Like you write hello and writes hello, and you ask it a question, a monotonic answer is given. But if it's artificially intelligence driven, it gives you a much more elaborate response, which is more humanly. It looks like somebody is on the other line talking to you, or chatting to you in the way. So these are the two areas. One is the analytics, the other one is interaction, where artificial intelligence can really help us. Thank you.
Sorry, my internet's a little bit challenging today. Apologies. But I'd like to come back to that a little bit later on when we talk about the consumer and really what this means from a consumer perspective, as opposed to consumer. About
I'm sorry, but Darren, I'm sorry, I can't make you out. Your voice
I'm
just cut.
very sorry. I'm very sorry. I'm struggling with internet here in Africa today, so apologies. Sambo, I was going to come to you if you can hear me. If you can just unmute your mic. Great. Okay, fantastic. So Sambo, if someone asks you, you know, where does AI and where does banking come in? Do you have a different perspective than Rohit, or do you share similar views?
Well, I share similar views, but I have another point also. It's regarding scoring customer. When you have a large base of customers, we use AI for scoring them and to know which and to do different to simulation for new products. Or I had said already, it is difficult to manage a lot of parameters using for human to manage several parameters. With AI, it is possible. Also, when you are doing, for example, a smaller, excuse me, the word is not coming in English, but it's coming in French in my mind. Sometimes you do some product for bottom customers, but
Yes.
for bottom customer, we cannot lose time and effort to analyze and to do the scoring. We are always focused on the top because we have more revenue there. So for this also for product to bottom for value management of bottom customer, we use AI and we do trial on small group. If it's work, we expand it to larger bases.
Great. Thank you, Sambo. And Rachid, same question to you.
Yeah, Sambo and Hoyt, they are bankers, so it's we serve banks. Wiseasy, we are a point of sales manufacturer and technology builder, or digital banking or digital payments builder. So we have two missions. The first mission is hardware, and the second mission is software. So in the hardware side, we have to apply for AI, and that's why the company, we created a unit dedicated to AI. And in the terms of the software, as Rohit, he said in the beginning, everything is about data, because technology now is everywhere. IPs are no more under control, because after 20 years or 25 years, all the IP become public. So everyone can bring the same technology on the market, but how to reach the last mile of the customers, how to know the customer, is all about data. And you know, you and me or Horit or Sambo, we are a generation of physical football, physical things. We are born in outside of the social media arena. But today, all the young people, and especially this let's say this year, everything is based on social media, payments, communication, traveling, booking, working, hiring, job, KYC. Everything is based on that. So AI is inevitable. Everyone has to go on it, and we from our side, we are looking to this closely in terms of technology. And I mean, if you remember the first for the engineers who has developed in the 70s, 80s, 90s, remember how big the computer was. Now, all what we have is based on AI. So AI is inevitable. AI is the future. AI is used either in payments, in government, in health. And we have seen what's happened with the COVID. Because of the QR code, now we can travel everywhere only with the QR code. And behind this, in the back office, we are using AI. So it's, for me, it's something which become normal, but we have to make it very easy to the end user to understand how to use it. I mean, Rohit, he was talking about the chatbot, which become very, very, I mean, a lot of people, they have friends now on their laptop. They speak to them, they put questions, they have response and everything. And we know that for the payments, it will be a massive plus and added value for the payment in the near future. So I'm sure we will develop those subjects in the coming questions. But there is our point of view from the AI from Wiseasy side.
Great, thank you very, very much, Rachid. Rohit, back to you, if I may. Let's talk a little bit about the digital transformation program underway at the Bank of Kigali. I know the lights are now on. When you were designing that that transformation program, was AI at the forefront, or was it just a part of a bigger sort of part of the puzzle? How much sort of thought went into the future and AI when you were building this digital transformation journey?
Well, thank you, Darren. So for us, we're building foundation. So what we started off with was, what do we want to achieve? We didn't say that we wanted to use AI or analytics or a big data platform or cloud. We didn't start with naming those technologies. We started with objectives. One of the objectives was how we are going to innovate, what digital technology we should adopt, which will generate the data for us, okay? And how would the interaction between the customer would take place. Now, if I were to give you an example, after going live with the new core banking system, our engineers are already looking at facial recognition for looking at KYC information, because now they can access it. So the foundational elements that we went into was how seamlessly can the engineers access the data, okay? How much data can we collect from the customers? How much data can we collect from the customers without being intrusive, okay? Which is in the remit of banking. And whatever data we have from the customers, how we can utilize it to benefit the customer and create new products for the bank as well. Now, all of it comes from planning, innovation, designing, and executing it. Now, at the forefront of it, we also recognize that we will be generating mountains of data. So we created a strategy that one layer is about data. The second one was access to the data. We had choices that you could have, database technologies, big data technologies, or cloud technologies. So we settled down, we said, whatever is the background platform, we'll access everything through APIs. So we went with the strategy that almost the whole bank is now API driven. So these two tenets now have allowed us to expose almost the whole bank internally to every service that we have on APIs. So tomorrow, if there is a sandbox built by the regulator, or if we want to churn out, or do analytics on for artificial intelligence learning, if we want to move this data across into a cloud platform, we're ready. So it's just now what we have to do is look into the remit of regulations and how we will maintain the sovereignty of data with us, that we start utilizing it. So the foundation for me starts with how the data is collected, how the data is stored, and how it is consumed. So all these strategies are now work in progress, or work in play, I would say, not even in progress, because they are ready. So it's just now about building products, services, and consuming and extrapolating that data.
And Rohit, if I may ask, I know this is maybe slightly off topic, but I think it's probably worth mentioning, given we're talking so much about data. As you mentioned, you're amassing this huge amount of data on products, on consumers, on all parts of the bank. Is there an open banking strategy in Rwanda, or is that not yet something that's on the table? I know, talking a little bit earlier with George on another session, his business is all around open banking and being able to plug into some of the big banks and the mobile money operators to be able to leverage the data that they have in order to serve his consumers. Is that something that's on the roadmap, or was a consideration when, again, embarking on this journey?
So we're slightly ahead of the curve, though not fully open banking, I would say. But to a significant degree, all our engagements with various mobile money operators and other banks allow us to share data on a limited capability. There is a data privacy law that we have to be sensitive about as well, which is why all the data sharing between the platforms is slightly conservative right now, but we're looking forward to a more openness going forward. There is obvious data sharing, there is obvious integrations, but they come with very, very heavy contracts, which are negotiated between two parties, not through regulation. We're waiting for the regulation to come open up the scene for us, and the data privacy regulation has been passed. It's just about, let's say, another year before things start opening up for us to start, exchanging data and opening our platforms. But at the bank level, because we've adopted a strategy, if you come and contract us with us, or you want to build a sandbox with us, we're open.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. Thank you, Rohit. Sambo, in Benin, how are things there when it comes to sort of regulation around data? Obviously, in your role, I imagine you're amassing a huge amount of data as well to power any AI that you're looking at. How are things in Benin?
In Benin, or I would say in sub-Saharan Africa, where regulation is late. So for now, we are using data as we can, but there is no strict regulation regarding what can be done and what cannot be done. So we do just what one, but we use European regulation to make sure data will not have too much troubles. But we don't have a local regulation. We have a regulation regarding all transaction and all digital services, but it's not there is not something specific to data data retrieved from users. There is no something specific, so there is lack of regulations. So we are just using it as we can. The only thing that is not which is forbidden is to use store biometric information, but you can use the hash of that biometric. This one is specific. For example, you cannot use the biometric of somebody to make sure it's in, but we can do a hash of that and use this hash to compare if it's the same person or not. Thing like that.
Okay. All right, very good. Rachid, I don't know if you've got anything to add on this specific topic on regulation.
Yeah, for regulation, of course, especially in Africa. Let's say, I think apart from Kenya, where the AI has been regulated in terms of data, in terms of storage, in terms of let's say data centers. I don't think in other countries it has been regulated. I'm not sure. It has been put in place. We have many examples of banks in North Africa, in South Africa, using the AI in their systems today for payments. Some PSPs, some national switches, providing some AI solutions to their customers. But I'm not sure that in terms of regulation, there is one regulation in the country. I think the only one that I know for the moment is in Kenya, either for the payments or for the taxes with the KRA, Kenya Revenue Authority, where the specification and regulation is very clear from that side.
Can I add something here? Apparently, there's a general template which has been adopted by most of the African countries around AI regulations. And it's built around the data privacy and protection laws, which safeguards the consumers. So they've not created a law specific to AI, but they've created a law based on consumer to protect the consumer interest. They've left the technology for interpretation and use. So from that perspective, my projection is AI will be used. The countries that do not allow you to use cloud services outside their geographical boundaries will do it on premises. They'll look at solutions, they'll look at data centers, they'll look at co-hosting solutions, which are in the geographical boundaries, and then start exploring what can be done. Or as Sambo pointed out, that you could create a hash, which is an encrypted format of that data, and then use it out across boundaries. I'm sorry?
No. I didn't know if we were still connected. It froze again, so apologies.
So my comment was very plain. The comment was that technologists will find a solution within the region of boundaries, regulation, to find a solution for the banks and or institutions to use. And this is not limited to banks, but obviously there is potential in that technology. It's just that everybody is looking to explore every section. What section accelerates the institution is going to matter. So everybody is looking at their data, what they've collected. For us, we have 50 years of data. Some of it is digital, some of it is still paper-based. So when we get the paper digitized, I think AI is going to play a major role in analyzing it for us. You know, one of the AI technologies is also OCR, optical character recognition. So if that can be used to extract content from documents which are like 50 years old, maybe we could build a nicer product for a customer who's been with us for more than 25 years or 30 years. So it's all predictability. It's all predictions right now, but everybody's trying to look into what use case can be developed, how it can be used.
Yeah, and Darren, in addition to what he was explaining right now, since 5 years exactly, many countries, many governments, they have added into the Ministry of Economy. Now you will find many countries specifying Ministry of Economy and Digital Affairs. So in the digital side, they have included all those machine learning, data analytics, AI, to allow the country to explore those kind of technologies. And that's why we have more and more summits in some countries like Ivory Coast, in Morocco, in Kenya, in South Africa, where the government itself has created those initiatives to allow people to think, to develop, and to create. I have seen two very nice experiences based on AI for two companies who have which have developed a very nice application to speed up the process of certifying some let's say some tests, some COVID tests based on AI, because it was taking something like 24 hours. Now it's 10 minutes to 5 minutes, and the customer receive an SMS, receive a link, receive an email, and he can travel, because sometimes you are in the airport and you need this. So because of the AI and because of some government has allowed those practice and technologies to be on board in the country, so many initiatives has been initiated in that side, and the many ministries have changed their name to include what they call in French numérisation, numeric or digital. So now they are talking about AI, machine learning, big data, and so on and so on.
Very good. Right, I know in the UAE we had that there was a minister of AI in the UAE. I think he was the first government minister of artificial intelligence globally. So yeah, the UAE is always a few steps ahead of the rest of the world. So that's good. Sambo, if I may come to you, I've got a slightly different question. When embarking on a digital transformation journey, and Rohit, I'd like to get your views on this as well shortly, but what are the major considerations? What are the major challenges when you're looking at replacing core infrastructure within the bank? What are the biggest obstacles that you have to try and overcome?
Darren, excuse me, just to yourself and to the audience, Sambo has just messaged me and told me that he had to leave the session due to another urgent meeting. So he cannot, he's still connected, but will not be able to answer your question.
No problem, thanks. Well, Rohit, this is probably a good question for you as well, my friend. So what were the biggest obstacles and challenges when you're embarking on this journey?
Okay, I'll put it on two aspects. Well, and I may sound like a repeater, but the chip shortage, oof, that's hurt us really bad. You can't really plan for it. The banks in Africa cannot maintain a huge pipeline of capital investment forever. And once you make it, your intention is you should get it as soon as possible to utilize it. So that shortage and supply chain has been one of our biggest challenges. The second challenge we have is shortage of talent. And we've been trying to groom talent, but the experience comes from usage, exposure, and AI is not a mass technology as yet, and you don't get talent across the board. So you still have to have talent building exercises. You still have to acquire talent from the more expensive markets, and so you are hindered in expanding your use cases. What you think is right is the only use case you can go ahead with. So the limitations that are brought in is usually through the supply of talent and resources. What we've invented with is we wanted to start a mechanism where we started cooperating with local colleges and universities in the region, not even in the country, in the region, and we started acquiring their talent and curriculums, and we started pushing in our projects into their curriculum, stating that if you have a summer internship or a project where we would like to sponsor candidates, we would like to put those candidates through our requirements so that they can do a real world case analysis, and at a very I would not say a very high mature level, but at an experimental level, what we would get is a tangible outcome stating that is there a promise in taking this route, is there a promise in running an experiment, and would this experiment yield something. So you attach a few business teams, you would attach a few business analysts with the data scientists and technologists all around them, form a small team, and you create an experiment and ask them to run the experiment. That has yielded some benefit, but we would like to run maybe 20 or 30 teams, but we're limited to a few numbers because of the number of heads we have around in the region who are split between multiple organizations. You would want to have as many as possible, but you're limited.
Yeah, it's a challenge, and certainly a long-term strategy. It sounds like you're deploying there. Rachid, I mean, Rohit just mentioned this obviously the semiconductor issue that's global. Is that causing you guys pain as well in sort of your supply chain, or what are the challenges that you're facing at the moment in the journey of finteching?
Yeah, no, from our side, honestly, we are not facing any challenges in terms of the supply chain because fortunately, Wiseasy is a manufacturer, so we have our factories. So we manufacture for our side, for ourselves and our customers. So we don't have this shortage in terms of components or raw materials. Of course, we have this increase of the cost or the price of the raw material that we have to, in a transparent way, to inform our customers and partners. But in terms of supply chain, we don't have any problem. And I think from my experience in Africa for the last 20 years, I would like to add something to what Rohit was explaining. Today, I think we have to separate two mindsets. We have the West mindset and the East mindset. The East mindset is easy. I mean, ASAP or is as soon as practical is in East, as soon as possible is in the West. This is the first mindset. That's why many projects in Kenya have been launched in AI, in digital banking, in innovation, while it came very late to West Africa, or let's say Central Africa. Why? West Africa and Central Africa were the first region to put in place, let's say, what we call the SEPA model, a regional national switch in Senegal, regional national switch in Cameroon with GMAC, with GIM in Senegal. But the problem is the lack of talent people, because we have made a big mistake in the past by confusing between IT people and payment experts. It's not because I'm an engineer in IT, I can go for payments. And if you see all the IT or the CIO of banks, those are IT people. They are not payment experts. First. Second, it's sometimes very confusing because banks want to do the job of a fintech. and they want to develop everything in-house. A bank's job sometimes is not to develop technology, but to outsource to a company and and rely on a partner to bring them a core banking, a switch, a backend, and so on. So, but when a bank wants to go into in-house development, this will delay a lot of projects, and that's why we don't see a lot of initiatives in terms of digital payment or in terms of payment in general. And I think that's why many fintechs now are moving ahead, and we are not in that speech of open API to integrate the fintech with the banks in Africa, while it has been done in the United States, in Europe, even in GCC region. So I think that we should really consider the fact that some banks should rely on their partner to provide them with the full solutions, and banks should concentrate itself on the banking activity, which is bringing, exploring, and facilitating for the end user, within the customer, all the means. I would like, for example, today to highlight something very important. What is the time needed to open an account in some banks in Africa? Sometimes you go over 3 weeks. What is the time to get a card for you as a card holder? Sometimes is more than 1 month, because it's the shortage of the issuer, the shortage of the card or whatever. But we have some banks, and recently I was in a country and I have opened an account for a company that we have created in 25 minutes. I came out from the bank with my account, with my statement, with a business card, gold card, to not name the scheme, and I came with everything in 25 minutes. I opened my digital banking, my web banking, my account, my statement, everything's in 25 minutes. And if it has been done, it's because of AI and digital banking. And this, in some countries, it's quite so late. So we have a lot of challenges, but we have very, very good initiatives that we can learn from them even in Africa.
Rachid, thank you. And one takeaway, there's been lots, but one I've got from me is your analogy of ASAP. I'm going to use that one as well in the future. We've only got a couple of minutes left.
Sorry, Darren, this is just but you can add a third one, which is as soon as practical, as soon as possible, and plug and pray. In some moments, in some technologies, you have just to plug and pray. Don't plug and play.
I'll remember those three. Thank you. Rachid, wasn't with you. My last question, just to wrap up. I'm going to ask you to take out your crystal balls, if you may, and let's look. I'm not going to say 5 years, because 5 years is just way too long. But let's look 2, maybe 3 years at the most. Where do you see banking in Africa in say 3 years' time? Rachid, whether it's optimistic, whether it's futuristic, I'd love to get your view.
I think as I said, for some regions, we are already in. Really, we are already in. Many banks today, they are offering very massive digital solutions in a quick time. Some customers, and now I'm one of the customers, we are happy of it. So I don't think it will be in the 5 next year or the 2, 3 next year, but I think next year will be a very, very critical year for all the banking, let's say, sector, because if some banks will not change their strategy, I'm sure that they will be very late, because I think that those 2 years of Corona has left to some banks to think about the next strategy. Some of them, they have developed, released, certified, and they will bring by beginning of this next year very nice solutions. So I'm sure that next year will be a very decisive year for the banking. Not 3 years, not 5 years, because we from our side as a hardware manufacturer, we have already included all the automation in the devices. You know, we started by accepting mic strap card, chip card, contactless card, RFID, NSDT, QR code. Now we are at facial recognition, iris recognition, blood temperature detection. All those, of course, fingerprint, whatever the specification, FBI specification, Artex specification in India, whatever. All those technologies are already integrated in the devices. So if they are integrated in these devices, means that there is a back office which can communicate with them. So some banks, some financial institution, they have already included those technologies. So we are in. I'm not sure that we have to wait for 3 years. We are in. We are already in PCI PTS 6. We are already in 5G on the devices. We are already, including digital and the fingerprint readers in cards. We are already today taking iris, let's say, recognition and facial recognition today in some schools with some devices and with some technologies. So I think that for the banking, we are in, because we are able today to open an account in 25 minutes. We are able to deliver with instant issuing a card. We are able to open an account via WhatsApp, via social media tools. So I think that we are in.
Thank you, Rachid. I think Darren has frozen on us, and thank you, Rohit, as well. Do we have any final comments that we'd like to make to bring the panel discussion to a close? Rohit, I'll start with you.
Thank you so much. So I know Darren made a question about what our predictions is. My prediction is banking for everyone, and that is going to be the major push of both the banks and the governments for financial inclusion. Until unless every individual who's an adult and who has some sort of an income doesn't have a bank account, you can't really push them for a digital era. And my crystal ball says you're looking at multiple partnerships in future between service providers, manufacturers, innovators, technologists, bankers, fintechs. It's going to be a mishmash cross integrations between all of us to build whatever solution works for the customer. So the customer is going to remain the king. It's just that how do we make the king sit on the throne is going to be the question.
Fantastic. Rachid, what about your crystal ball? What do you envision?
We will continue on what we have done since 2012, is to accompany our partners and customers, because we are providing technology, we are providing hardware, we are providing vision. We are in the 5th continent, so we have learned how to get a good experience and expertise and bring it to our customer, to allow them seeing what has been done in other countries, and to bring the positive waves to our customers in Africa, and of course export some African very good initiative. So our role is to be in the middle between all the very positive initiatives and try to spread them everywhere, and to accompany our partners and customers. And my ball tell me that we are going, as Rohit he said, to a very good partnership in the near future with all the actors, PSPs, banks, fintechs, providers, because at the end of the year, at the end of the day, we have all of us to serve in a good manner the final customer, and to allow him come in with whatever means, card, cash, mobile, or whatever, to be served at a point of acceptance. And our role is to accompany banks and financial institutions to do so. So this is my point of view. Thank you so much, Ria.
Great. Thank you, Rachid, and thank you, Rohit, for taking the time today. And I know Sambo has already left, but thank you, Sambo, for also sharing your insights, and Darren, who unfortunately got cut off at the end, for leading the discussion. I hope to have each of you again speak with us at Seamless Africa in the future. To our audience members, please join us for the next session, which will be exploring fostering innovation across payments and retail banking, meeting the demands of the digital wave. I hope to see you all there. And again, to our speakers, thank you for your time. Bye-bye.